speaking of people we like, I found quite the duel here. It seems like before the most recent weekend of Golden League, MarineLorD was scrimming with Leenock. Now, Leenock, of course, wasn't in Golden League anymore, but he was willing to provide his services as a scrimming partner for the Frenchman. And funnily enough, he's going to be playing the French against that Frenchman in a best-of-3 kind of style scrim, because there's 3 games to do here, and I think we are going to do all 3. But the first one, it is going to be a Basset versus French. Let's get into it. Ooh. I may have forgotten to hit the view replay in time, but here we are, straight in to Dry Arabia in this matchup. And you know what? Little prelude here, a little bit of a hype moment. No mirror matchups to worry about. I mean, some people like them, some people hate them, but it's nice to kind of have a difference. So I think we get presented enough French mirror matchups involving MarineLorD as it is in competitive play. So nice to kind of mix it up, especially considering that he's not the one playing the French. And I wonder if this was by purpose design, if he asked Leenock to do this, or if Leenock's like, I want to practice against you, because I think a lot of people at this point are happy to concede the best French player spot to MarineLorD, and I don't mean his real-life nationality. I mean as the Civ. So, kind of curious to see what Leenock has in mind to try and bring down the #1 French player. It could just be a double TC type play. But I'm expecting maybe at least some sort of attempt at aggression. Usually the way you do these openings with the French is you want to get at least one of these knights out in the field to pressure your opponent to force a response. Once you force a response, it puts you ahead, and then you can basically just open up your options book and check on what you want to do. So, by the way, for those wondering how Leenock's been doing, because you know we haven't been seeing him in Golden League, of course he didn't make it to the top 8, didn't make it in the playoffs. He's still been playing a sizable amount, actually. I'd say he's been putting in between 3 to 8 games at least per day. Like, the guy has been committed on the grind. In fact, on the ranked leaderboards right now, although he's sitting in the 15th, is after 216 games played with a 70% win rate. So still very competitive. And it should also be mentioned that whenever he does search the ranked leaderboards, he has this, I don't know if you'd say this bad luck or good luck. I guess it's good luck if you want to improve as a player, to always end up clashing with the Muslim. Like, I'd say I can't actually remember the last time I looked in Leenock's replays, and at least 3 of the games in the most recent ones weren't against the Muslim. So kind of states the kind of issue for him staying in that top 10 right now. Anyway, let's focus on these openings, because right now, first thing that's going to be important is when the wheelbarrow comes. Looks like Brad Byte, who is MarineLorD. I should point this out, by the way, because I keep forgetting to, because I just nerd by default now. Brad Byte is MarineLorD. So, and Leenock, I don't know if you all believe this. I know, and this is going to blow your mind, but just stick with me. Leenock is Leenock. Leenock, he has got the mill, so it looks like it is going to be a fairly quick wheelbarrow here. Does need to sort his wood, and it looks like the lumber camp is delayed in that regard. Interesting choice here to build the mill first. I wonder if this was maybe an accident. This feels like an accident, because I can't think of any reason you want the mill down first before the lumber camp. But I do like the way he's about to do this. This is the appropriate way. I think usually when you're approaching this, you want to be halfway through your tech up when you start researching wheelbarrow. It's a very optimal timing. You don't tend to sacrifice your first knight push timing too much, but you bolster your economy very notably. We should see it coming out by the time. I'd say maybe it's just past the halfway mark on the bar there when he gets it. You can already see the tech up is underway for MarineLorD as expected. Usually the Basset players, they do gather the initial resources a little bit faster, and they need to, because that research speed, that build-up speed, although it doesn't require you to commit any villages, it is a locked-in research speed. You can't do it any faster, meaning you're stuck with a 1 minute 45 second timing. It looks like MarineLorD's going to try to be a little bit annoying for Leenock, but Leenock is just going to ignore him to gathering the gold. Does get the required quantity, and there you go. So wheelbarrow coming out. It's going to take a minute 30 toll, and it looks like the timing should line up for it to complete maybe, I'd say, about 15 seconds, 20 seconds into fuel age, which is a respectable timing. My issue is when I see players, and some players really do still like live and die by this, they believe in it wholeheartedly, is they will complete their tech up and then go wheelbarrow about 30 seconds to a minute into feudal age, which is a heavy delay over this timing. I think the delay on your first knight push out is so inconsequential that it just doesn't make sense to me to not get the wheelbarrow on the tech up. And you actually see the effect of this. Like, you can see on the numbers right now, Leenock, by the time the tech up completes, he actually should be pretty optimal with this. He's got 6 people working on the food, so you should get enough for the first night within the first 5 seconds maximum of teching up here. Speaking of teching up, MarineLorD does beat him to the punchline, only ever so slightly. And oh, wait. Oh, MarineLorD. Okay, he's not going to lose too much time. A little bit of time gathering here. He miscalibrated slightly. He didn't have enough wood to actually get a mining camp down, hence why his villagers were running back to base there, but he won't miss out too much. Maybe like an additional 10 to 15 stone, so it will slightly delay his secondary TC, but not by an excruciating amount. There we go. This is what we're talking about. The little to no delay for Leenock as the first Royal Knight is going to be pushed out in 5 seconds. School of Cavalry, always the go-to choice. I just don't see a world in which the School of Cavalry becomes suboptimal compared to the Chamber of Commerce. Like, it's very hard for me to not feel like someone's throwing the game when they pick Chamber of Commerce. Maybe if they fixed it so it wasn't bugged and returned the full 30% additional resources, I might be somewhat convinced. But even then, you sacrifice so much by going for Chamber of Commerce because School of Cavalry isn't just a free stable. It's so much more than that. It's this right here, folks. It's not just the power of being able to push your cavalry instantly. It's the fact that you push them 20% faster, and that affects all stables everywhere on the map for the rest of the game. It's such a big advantage. It's very difficult to turn your nose up and away from this. And you can see the effect it has. 29 seconds to push Royal Knights instead of 35. That's big. That's going to allow you to escalate a lot quicker. And it means actually, unless you're up against another French player, they can't counter cavalry. And if they want to counter cavalry with, say, horsemen, it's so difficult to build up the amassment quick enough, right? Like, it's not like you can argue horsemen push that much quicker than knights in that situation. Yes, it only takes 22 seconds, but these lads only take 29, and they will win a one-on-one. Even on a 2-on-1, I actually feel like they still come out ahead because of the bonus damage. French knights are just ridiculous. There's a reason they're the bread and butter. Like, you know, there's so many things to consider. The fact you have School of Cavalry, like we talked about, quicker production speed, the 5 seconds of bonus damage is a huge deal, as well as Chivalry allowing you to actually be optimal. Chivalry that is now being researched by Leenock. Leenock now currently with, I think, about 3 knights in the field, right? Looks like it's actually 2 and an archer push. A quick archer push at that. Interesting choice here. Leenock looks like he's actually prepping to end this game in feudal. An unorthodox choice for the French these days. A civ that notably almost always historically has chosen to eke out an advantage in feudal and at least go to castle before the end of the game. The denial. And the denial is big. Look at the numbers right now. He was too quick with this move. MarineLorD wasn't expecting it. And this reaction here, going for the racks first of all, which doesn't serve your purpose. Now the double archery range to try and fix this, to rectify the mistake. Even if you do rectify this, like, you're kind of wrecked economically now, right? You've got all this stone. This stone is wasted. In fact, because you've got this stone, you delayed your push out of archers instead. This doesn't feel good. MarineLorD now has 268 sunken resource that does nothing, that he could have used to get these racks and these archery ranges up sooner, to get the initial units out quicker. There's so many different ways he could have used it. If he was given the option, if he was given the opportunity to turn back time and make a different choice with knowing this is coming, he wouldn't have been on the stone at all. Because it's just sitting there wasted. And that's a lot of resources at this stage in the game. And you see, Leenock is going to keep pushing archers for the moment. Doesn't need to go too ham-tara about this, though. Mining camp being burned down is actually a big deal if you can finish it off. And the archers, baiting the spears a little. He just snipes one of them out. And that means the mining camp is going to go down. The final torch damage coming through. The villager trying to move in quick enough. Nice push away just in time. And with bellying the archers here, Leenock shouldn't be able to actually deter MarineLorD away anymore. It's going to force him to dive in. Damage being done. Mistakes made by the knight there. Will at least repair this. Nice clutch save there. That was close as well. Down to about 20 to 30 health. MarineLorD gets in just in time. Important as well, because think about it this way, right? It's not just the fact that you would have had to spend 50 wood to build this again. It's also that you would have actually had to have rebuilt it before you could get efficient drop-offs, right? So instead, you probably would have been in a situation where it would have been more optimal if you're going to only one additional TC to just gather stone and run it back to TC. That's still lost production. That's still lost gathering time, right? It's kind of idle time at that stage. And that's why it's important that he keeps this mining camp alive. Now, Leenock. The question mark is whether he's going to go multiple TC here. It seems like he's just actually renewing the assault. He did invest in a secondary archery range. I'm a little bit concerned that he maybe misses his timing now. This can be very hard to kind of skirt. Like, I like the initial aggression. I would have liked it more if it led into an eco boom versus additional aggression. because you've already been answered, really, right? Like, look at it right now. You can see how confident MarineLorD feels. He spreads out. He spreads wide. Insulates himself well. And when you look at the military count as well, like, he already has a sizable force in the field. 6 spearmen, 11 archers. That outmasses Leenock. Leenock right now doesn't have a quantifiable amount of archers to deal with this. What? Okay. Wow. Leenock is going for the boar as the French. This is interesting considering your opponent did go for a feudal force, and you're playing off of this gluttonous element, right? You're expecting MarineLorD is going to play defensive because of the second TC. But little do you know what he just done. I mean, I think he saw it, but he saw it too late. The scout eyeballed that up. So Leenock is now exposed here, and it's known. And Leenock, if he wants to protect this eco expansion, will have to spend 200 wood to do so, due to the fact that you have 8 villages out here, and you are not a roost player, so you can't just build one outpost and be safe. Also, keep in mind, another reason why that's less optimal is these outposts, they take 45 seconds. The wooden fortress takes 50 seconds, right? So you've got additional idle time building up the defenses compared to the roost when they make this strategy. Roosts also get additional gathering rates on their food via their bounty system. It's why we always see the roost do this play, or almost always. But civs, like the French, any other civ, in fact, choose to just opt out of it entirely. The only way I like this from Leenock is if he now turns it into a proxy base. That's when I can get behind this, but the fact that he's already built 2 archer ranges back in base and now a 3rd suggests that this is nothing more than a ball play. And I question whether it's going to be good enough. I mean, maybe Leenock's thought process is if he played into double TC, he's playing from behind because his opponent's already there, probably for like 2 minutes ahead of him. I'm not convinced that this is the way. And you can see how comfortable MarineLorD is. Like, military force, numbers are about to even up. Leenock is going for the siege engineering, though, so it looks like he does want to end this game fast. The question mark is whether he's going to be fast enough. Especially with so many spears in the field, archers as well. I think the intent here is to wrap on the east side, take out the expansion TC, but the question mark is whether you're going to be fast enough. Like, MarineLorD is going to escalate now. You can see he's already up to 3 archer ranges, double racks. Compare that on the other side, it's 3 archer ranges and a stable. And although that stable pushes the units quicker, you're pushing something that's just outright countered. And this push onto the gold line, while annoying for MarineLorD, isn't going to deter him, because remember, he is actually over here gathering gold on the second TC. Nicely daisy chain in effect on its way. And you can see why, for good reason. Golden Age number 2, soon to be unlocked, and that is a big booster there. Research speeds, the increased gathering rates, meaning you can actually excel your lead above Leenock even further, because Lee at this stage, like, it's do or die now. Like, I think he's got about 5 minutes to make this work, at which stage MarineLorD just escalates into Castle Age. Double ram from Leenock. Heavy investment here. Very heavy investment. And MarineLorD, I wonder if he's wise to... I love this out of Leenock, actually. This is probably the best way to do this. It is going to expose his archers, but his archers aren't going to be chased down by horsemen. He pulls the knights on the right side here, so that now MarineLorD has to choose. Like, do you lose the left arm or the right arm, right? Because you can't buffer away both of these assaults simultaneously. Slinging up your forces is not the way to go, because if you look at the count right now, 29 archers on one side, 28 on the other. Camel Archer could be a big deal here. Knights are going to force the garrison out, but no conviction, no dive coming out. Interesting choice by Leenock, considering he could have sniped 3 villages and gotten away with that. He's now pushing on the left side. He's going to deny that tier 2 Golden Age. For good reason, that is where it just gets overwhelming. The ram dance continues. It's the second one. Or third one, rather, being built up. The houses, uh-oh. This is going to be a problem. MarineLorD needs more houses right now. He's actually about to be pop capped. Yeah, he can't produce more troops now. Uh-oh, you need to answer this now. Because now Leenock just got an opportunity to actually outmass you. He just needs to get the new troops on the front line. It's going to take a long time, though, pushing from all the way across the map. Rams, in the meantime, burn down more of these houses, just fixate upon them. And the spearmen can't push in just yet. Archer's looking in for the trade out, trying to focus on the spears. The diving and Knights is going to be allowed. In the meantime, the Rams continue through the housing line here. Knights are going to be deterred. Second line wrapping around the eastern front here, but not able to get in just yet. Trade outs, most spearmen gone, and that's where MarineLorD might be in trouble, folks, because that means he'll have no answer to the Knights, and right now he's pop-capped. He's still pop-capped despite the troops he's losing, and now the Rams move in onto the racks. A few spearmen remaining, they can get the torches out. Knights are going to chase forward onto the archers. Torches out from the villagers as well. Everything to commit onto the Rams to try and deter them away. Pop-cap still a problem as MarineLorD is locked in 100 right now, but Leenock, he's struggling to keep the front line alive. He needs more troops and he needs them now. Villagers being targeted out. The best option he has right now, but that means he's forfeiting the army and he knows it. He knows that's all the aggression is going to get. The Rams are going to be torched down. His archer battalion is going to be reduced to about 10. And meanwhile, MarineLorD looking incredibly healthy at 28 archers here. Means that it's going to be difficult for Leenock to renew this assault. But you can see he's locked in now. He doesn't really have a choice anymore. This was our worry, right? We said he has about 5 minutes. I think that was three and a half minutes ago. You're running out of time and you're running out fast. You did do some economical damage, but MarineLord's still ahead, right? And you have to consider that he could easily boom up to 3 TCs at this rate. I don't expect it because I think he's going to renew the feudal aggression. But also, what you just done isn't going to repeat again. Notice that MarineLorD is going to change the location of these houses, right? He's going to start insulating himself, putting them further back. He doesn't want to expose himself to that weakness the same way he did in that last fight. And it means that next time Leenock makes this sort of ram investment, it's not going to pay off as well as it did this time. You can see right now, MarineLorD at the end of that fight, substantially more troops in the field, and this is just a bad fight. Lee, you have to turn and burn. The good news, he at least cleared the boar, and he is wrapping around with the Knights right now, but the amount of damage you'd have to do to make this worthwhile, let's see if he can do exactly that. MarineLorD, by the time he sees it, it could end up being too late. However, the troops are shuffling back. A few spearmen in the mix-up. Leenock's Knights are going to be revealed as they wrap round, and they actually go for the one villager, not into the wood line. MarineLorD, he gets time to react. Mistakes were made there. Leenock, he didn't know how many people were in the wood. And if he had, oh, he would have went deep. He would have killed so many villagers because the instant reaction wouldn't have been there for MarineLorD. He got time to react due to little old Timmy giving his life. And it means Leenock just takes a bad trade. Probably his best opportunity now gone there. If he's not careful, he'll be quickly gone from this game. Eco lead starting to extend. Military lead still a 1.5 times modifier in favor of MarineLorD. Healthy composite here. 1 camel archer all times to the aura. And that aura, it does substantial damage to your DPS output of the French, right? Remember these Knights, like they get a full 20% loss of their damage. That bonus damage, not looking so good anymore either. It's a tough one. And they're a heavy investment in themselves. And right now, Leenock doesn't have any other option. He could push Horsemen, but Horsemen still suffer against the spears and still lose some of their damage due to the Camel Archer. Only 10%, mind you, due to the fact that bonus damage still goes unaffected against the archers, but it's still too frustrating. And oh no! Lee, run! Run! So many villages out in no man's land. The gluttony of the French. Je suis la baguette, but too much baguette here. As MarineLorD, he probably puts on a stereotypical laugh right now. He feels good. No food for you, he says. Night raid in. Leenock. Uh-oh. He finds nothing. He finds nothing. He's on the wrong wood line, and he knows it this time. Wall's going up, trying to delay things. Spear's moving across. The timing on this might just be perfect. And it is. MarineLorD's going to block him. He won't be able to get in the eco line. And all the while, his own eco line is being butchered. Oi, oi, oi. And the fight is taken here. Spearman being somewhat overwhelmed by the Knights, but these Knights were much more pricey. And look what's happening while this is underway. MarineLorD in the middle of a tech up that Leenock cannot even dream of. Raid through. Should be able to do some damage with very limited health here. In fact, this would be the moment where you just bait them back towards, gets the shivs out. I knew it. I knew it. What a mad lad. He checked the health bars. He knew it. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And Leenock missed opportunity there, didn't go for the striking, didn't insta-charge. That was his best opportunity to get value out of these Knights, and now they're just going to be wasted. You can see the shiv damage actually substantial here with such limited health on the remaining Knights. And while that's happening, a raid in the north side, he's gone in. He's fully committed because MarineLorD is doing the same thing. He goes into the French base. He goes for the trade, knowing it'll be a good trade for him. Spearman. Villagers in vast quantity are exposed here as the archers dive in, but it's the same on the other side of the map. Leenock in trouble now. MarineLorD at the holy 69 to the 39 eco of Leenock, and Leenock with this dive, I don't think you can do enough. Because although you chip away his eco, what do you do next? This is all archers. You can kill villagers, but you cannot kill buildings, and thus you cannot kill MarineLorD. Definitely can't with this tech up now. Rams now being built by MarineLorD. He says, oi, time for a taste of your own medicine, you little... Oh, give it to him. Rams are in. Archers are chasing the villagers away, but the villagers moving towards the protection of the TC. Dive-throughs are going to be required. Golden Age number 2 has been unlocked for MarineLorD, so he's gathering even better if it wasn't for the ridiculous eco advantage that didn't make it obvious enough already. Villager... What? MarineLorD doesn't care. He's busy fighting. He's fighting for the win. Doesn't care about his survival. Just needs to out-survive Leenock in this game, and he's most definitely doing that. The Archer force on both sides. Benefiting good old MarineLorD right now. The tech up should be coming through soon. 30 seconds away from vetting all these Archers. At which stage the game has been vetted and Leenock has been seen wanting. Rams in on the TC. And this is just the end of the road. I just don't see any way anymore. Like, Leenock, he can't... This is the worst part about this, right? Do you want to know what made this a game-winning move from MarineLorD? When he saw Leenock dive, he understood the only way he can win this game is if he can build Rams. So what does MarineLorD do in this game? Nice wood line you've got there. Would be a shame if I was to fire wood at your face. Which is exactly why he didn't care about this dive. Had he missed that wood line, had he ignored it, then he's in a game-losing state. But because you couldn't even gather enough wood for a single damn ram, not to mention you could also then, as a result, not afford to get the archers, it means it is all too easy for MarineLorD to cruise on through. Oh, dude. What a way to win this. Like, I mean, I think I said what I needed to at the end. Like, we assessed this pretty well in the mid-game. Like, this was a very weird all-in play. Well, not weird. It was a very gambly all-in play from Leenock. Like, he was definitely on the clock, and he understood it perfectly. But you can see the weaknesses of when you make this play, right? You can't push the Knights anymore. You're fully invested in Archers. Once you're fully invested in Archers, with a Ram Rush like this, there's only one resource that needs to be shut down, and if it's ever shut down, your game is over. Add that to the fact that MarineLorD already managed to find another chink in the armor of Leenock, right? When he found him with pocket ecos, right? So you're already you're already an eco deficiency. The wood is just the final nail in the coffin. Once the wood is gone, literally no options remaining, and it was just well identified by MarineLorD. You know, he understands as well, like, there's no point trying to react defensively, move your forces across the map. Like, you're talking about archers here. It would take him so long to go back to base that in the time it takes him to get there, Leenock might have decided he wants to go castle or second TC, and then you can't punish him anymore. Just really great identification. I think a lot of players in this situation would kind of knee-jerk react. They'd try and retreat. They'd try and defend. They'd overreact to the assault on their own base, but this shows you exactly what you should be doing. When you look at the comparison, if you think you're further ahead, attack, assault. It's the same in a French mirror matchup with Knights, right? Why should you spend time running your Knights back to your base to defend if you could raid your opponent to counter out the raid they're doing to you? And that's exactly what allows MarineLorD to win this game, even off the back of teching up in a situation where a lot of players would have been scared. He understood there was no way in hell, with this number of archers being pushed, that Leenock could force the Rams that would end the game. As the scrimming continues between these two Leviathans. And look what we got here. No mirror matchup again. This time it will be HRE versus Roos. And I said HRE that way for a good reason. It's a surprise E coming out of my mouth because it's not often that we that we see this, right? Especially on a map like Altai. HRE definitely a civ that has received some notable buffs though, right? For a start, what's this? Look at little Goldilocks here. He's already alive. He's already been born. It makes sense, actually. I'd like to point out, made no sense that a prelate would be born after the start of the game. I mean, look how old he is. He's clearly in his, like, 50s at least. Actually, no. Well, actually, he looks pretty youthful. He might be in his 30s, 40s. Anyway, let's focus less on the meme of it and focus on the whys. Why is this a big deal? Well, now you don't have to waste a villager production getting your first prelate. It did take away your starting 100 gold as like a bounce to this, but that's fine because you benefit a lot from this. It's not just the fact that you've got one additional villager to what you used to have as the HRE. Another important detail to consider here is that you're instantly buffing people, right? Which allows you to actually go for a more interesting split where you don't necessarily have to be as hard on the food if you want to. You can actually split up and go for gold. Or you can actually boom up the required surplus for a tech up much faster because that's an extra 20 seconds of Holy Inspiration buffing compared to what you used to have where you had to wait for it. Which means that for an extra 20 seconds at the start of the game, you've got a 40% increased gathering rate being added to your economy. Not flat straight away, right? Because you have to buff each of the individuals, but you reach that full bulked eco line of Holy Inspiration buffs quicker than you used to. And that means that you can actually unlock Feudal, I'd say about 30 seconds faster. I think that's a fair number to like associate with. 20, 30 seconds faster, which is actually a really big deal. We'll have to see what the big deal is in this one. We're going to find out if Leenock is a minework enthusiast. Words are hard today. Minework enthusiast, or if he's one of those Arkenchapel traditionalists, because we have been seeing some of the highest level players, Viper is the most notable one off the top of my head, frequently building the minework palace now. The question mark has always been why. It definitely got some decent buffs. Something to keep in mind, one of the big things they changed with it is like they didn't just make it so it was cheaper to research now. It researches blacksmith techs faster, but it still feels very hard to go for over an Arkenchapel, especially when you have some pristine spots available. In fact, if you look at this, I do believe there is an Arkenchapel placement that would affect... Okay, ignore it. Somewhere Beastie is breaking a keyboard right now. He had an Arkenchapel that would have buffed all 4 resources. Also, by the way, Leenock, I'm going to... Okay, we're not going to get in the more fiesta that Beastie goes into about Minework Arkenchapel. That's a Beastie special. I let him have that one. I get to mood about something different, right? I'm more nitpicky. I'm that guy that sees that you've got like a speck of hair on your suit and I'm like, I spit in your face and say, go change. Look at this. Why are these sheep not here? Even more so if you're not going Arkenchapel. Folks, he's missing out on optimization here. You move your sheep to the corner closest to your golden wood line. So, in theory, you put it here, right? Halfway between the two. That way, your prelates are more efficient. That way, you get one additional villager being buffed compared to this format because Old Man got a lot of walking to do, and although he may look somewhat buffed, he's going to get arthritis with this amount of running. Like, I hate seeing this. It's something a lot of the high-level HRE players have started to subscribe to. They understand how important it is because at the early phase in the game, that additional villager or two that you're buffing compared to this longer run between your food and your gold line from being on the wrong side of the TC is substantial. It unlocks your feudal quicker. It unlocks whatever your next condition is like 10, 15 seconds quicker. It's a big deal. Even more so when you build this thing here. All right, now I just need to clip in Beastie's 5-minute rant from a 12-minute, what was it, an 8-minute, 9-minute Golden League game. But I am interested in this. Leenock is at least going to be going for the double TC. However, keep in mind this has been fully scouted. And also another important detail to keep in mind is that Leenock only went... Did he go for 2 scouts? I don't think... I think he did. Yes, he did. The reason I asked it like that is look at the number that MarineLorD got. He's up at 375 bounty. This is a fail from Leenock. He missed the snipes. Like, this shouldn't really be happening. Maybe... It was just a case MarineLorD got super lucky with the generation and found a lot of bounty. But realistically, like, you should always be able to, with 2 scouts, deny your opponent getting beyond, say, 300, 320 max. That's a good game for the Roos. 380 is absurd! And also means that he can now unlock the tier 3. And he's going to get close as well, because it's going to be a ball play. And oh my god, this placement! Oh... By the love of all that is balliness. Oh, that's a hunting cabin and a half. Mahabada. Folks, I'm going to say this is a 29. This is 29. This is me aging game. Oh, okay, I'm not that old. Who is this old actually? Well, I don't want to name. Is this nearly age? Is it Drongo age? Pesty age? Might be Pesty age. Definitely not my age. 36 though. baby got back. I mean, that's big. That's actually a lot of gold. That means this is going to pay for itself in 3 minutes. Remember, the board takes 5 minutes to gather from, so by the time you're done with the board, you've already paid for the hunting cabin via the passive gold that you're gathering. That's incredible. And now the stable as well. Things are about to get aggressive. And I like this approach. Don't go archery ranges to open up with. You're up against the HRE, because when you go archery ranges, your inclination is to then go for rams. Rams are very ineffective against the HRE due to this little button here. Oh god, someone's trying to murder me before I'm being greedy enough. Click this button and then offset all the damage. Rams suck against the HRE for this very reason. Knights, on the other hand, that's someone I can get behind, because Knights will allow you to dive past the TC and strike straight into the village line. And my oh my, folks, will there be plenty of villagers, because Leenock has committed to the double TC info that has been available to MarineLorD, as he did scout out the move onto the stone very early on. Now you see the Rax reaction coming out. Needs to get the Spearman ASAP. And double archery range behind it. And of course, you've still got the archers, right? Like, this isn't me saying don't build archers at all. It's me saying the knights are more important for the harassment than just committing to rams, because rams slows you down. Like, just archers into rams slows you down. This gives them an ability to take out villagers quite easily. And of course, you're always going to go back to the archery range afterwards, because you are playing as the Roos, and the Wooden Fortress does give you big benefits in conjunction with the double products, which is actually perfectly researched at this time as we're talking about it. Now his gathering rates are phenomenal. The reason this is important is because all of this costs a lot of wood to build, yes, but all of this built inside costs a lot of wood. Remember, archers, the majority of the resource cost isn't food, weirdly enough. I don't know how this works out, folks. Apparently, the body makes up less than the cost of a measly little bow, some string, and the arrows to fire from. I guess in fairness, like, it's got to be very wood expensive to arm your archers with infinite arrows, so I can kind of see where they're coming from. But yeah, that's why you make this build with the Roos. It's just so efficient for your economy, because wood is the thing you get more of than most other civs. And wood is the majority of the cost for these archers. You can see the stables now being prepped. Leenock, my concern about this is limited food resource. And this is the issue, I think, with like double TC with this format up against what you're facing here. Your berry spawn was at the front, so that's blocked. You're now playing onto the deer, and you're playing double horseman stables. Now, you might be able to get enough to buffer away from archers, but you're going to run out of resources, because the other issue you have to keep in mind here is he's doubled the food requirement on his villager production, right? Yes, you'll get big fast, but what are you getting big for here? You're probably going to need a farm switch quicker than you like. And farms are also vulnerable in this situation against rams. Also, consider the lack of room Leenock has. This fallback approach to his base means that he's very limited in his room to expand. And the wooden fortress as well. Oh, come on, MarineLorD. That's half of the wood line you can't access. And you know how you fix your food issues on this map, folks? Farms. Now what can you not afford? Farms. This is a dire situation. Even allowing the stable to be torched right now is going to look to take a fight. He needs to soon. If this Wooden Fortress goes up, I think he's in trouble. E-repairs is going to slow things down at least. More troops are shuffling in from MarineLorD. You have to fight now. Archers could be thrown away to get the Wooden Fortress up. There he spreads out with the scouts. Scouts that won't have bonus damage against them. The Horseman not actually attacking fast enough here. And the Villager is going to be clutched. No! MarineLorD makes a mistake there. He peels it back a little bit too soon, and it means he does not complete the Wooden Fortress. Leenock survives. That's a big deal as well. Gets his own outpost up, stops the Wooden Fortress from being fully constructed, means this full wood line is still accessible. Had he lost half of that wood line, then he's in trouble, because remember, he's already spending wood to push these horsemen. He needs wood for the farms. He's going to need wood for the houses. Everything requires wood, and half of this wood line would not keep him alive. MarineLorD, he won't let that deter him though. Pulls another villager. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. This is a problem. Because this time there's more knights and there's lots of archers still. This is about to get spooky. Ram is going to be chased away by the horsemen. Horsemen giving their lives over as they're distracted by the torch damage being thrown out. And the spread out, holding back the rams. MarineLorD, he's blocking him on purpose so he can't reach with the archers. The archers can't be assaulted correctly here. And it means good trades for MarineLorD. What an optimization there. What a shuffle. The Rams blocking his movement around. And it means his army is going to be wiped. Wooden Fortress is successfully going to go up. And now Leenock is in trouble because his secondary stable is about to be on fire. Oh my god, what a play! That is such a big deal. It doesn't look it. It looks so clowny. But he shuffled the Rams to the left side so the Horsemen could not envelop him. They couldn't maximize their damage against the front line, and they couldn't reach the back line. And that's why that fight was so one-sided. What a play. And now you see that farmland transition we were talking about because Leenock has ran out of food. He needs to shift to the back line. He needs to go for the deer in the back corner fast. But there's only 3 deer there. Remember, they changed this up. The additional deer afterwards are close by, but this idle time is costly right now. Watch what happens to his food income. His food income is going to sink. It's going to plummet, and he's in a situation where he can't afford that because he needs to get a new army up, and he needs to do it stat. Rams moving in now into the outpost. And you see that number starting to sink down. Trying to quickly recover it with the new farms online. Rush out, torches at the ready. They need to get rid of these Rams, they know it, but what is going to be the cost here? The archers, unhindered, are going to start to focus fire onto the villagers. Knights to deal with the few horsemen that remain here. Emotional repairs will keep the outpost up, but the villager count, the sacrifice, Leenock, was it worth it? Did you even have a choice? And the Rams, he maybe gets one. It looks like that's not even feasible here. And now look at the eco. MarineLorD 4 villages ahead despite the early secondary TC out from Leenock. And you know what? I think MarineLorD, yep, I was about to say, it's time for more Rams here. Because he doesn't need to double down on the archer replacement. He's still up at 28 archers. Oh no, and the double stables at the back now. This is kind of in for a penny, in for a pound, isn't it? It makes you kind of question, like, maybe, was it better to go for man-at-arms here? Could man-at-arms have done more? Yes, you're up against knights, but these horsemen, like, there's just not enough of them to overwhelm. Now Rams moving across on the racks as well to get rid of that extra variable. See a pullback. I wouldn't be surprised if MarineLorD does shift a villager across to try and repair this. It would be a long run to do so. And yep, there it is. They moved out. What? I wondered why they were up there. MarineLorD actually went for the second boar as well. Hence why he's able to afford all this. Hence why he's never running out of resources. Notice the big difference here. One player ran out of limited resources. The other one used the map spread to guarantee he never did. And although Leenock finds a second line of finite resources, he did admittedly make this investment into farms quite early. A hefty investment as well. 450 wood that could have been used to push more racks or more stables to get a sizable force to hold with. Instead, you keep holding with villagers, but they don't hold against these arrows. It's just 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Leenock. Rams now shuffling in, fully repaired, onto the primary TC. Emergency repairs can only do so much for you here, especially if more Rams start coming out, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. MarineLorD, he has plenty of wood in reserve, could build 2 more Rams. Wooden Fortress going up, blocking the wood as well. And the villagers going to go for the full garrison here. Archers full commit to make sure there's no sort of torch damage going out onto those Rams. Emergency repairs gets forced. Switches over now. Looking to dive deeper, forcing Leenock away as he cannot advance yet. He doesn't have enough horsemen. Barely any spears either. Spears are going to be targeted out. Step back from the archers to start step looking good. Knights will be forced to engage in a moment as the horsemen do envelop them. However, that's a bad trade. You want to be on top of the archers. The choke point as well. It works to MarineLorD's advantage, though. Choke points are phenomenal when you have range composite like this. And now the villagers have to come out and play. But it is a play that ends in death. It's like inviting 5-year-olds to play with cat poop. Not advised here. The amount of dead units here for Leenock. I mean, I just don't see how he recovers anymore. That has to be it, right? Look at the lead now. 13 villagers up. Military force all but non-existent for Leenock means that MarineLorD will take the dub. 2 games so far and 2 games for MarineLorD, mate. He's looking relentless. Leenock, yeah, he's no pushover either, but MarineLorD just seems to have his number. This is twice in a row now that MarineLorD has quickly identified what Leenock has done and adjusted to it, right? And it's interesting, the switch up. Game 1, the aggression came out from Leenock. MarineLorD sidestepped into his eco greed, but balanced it fantastically. Game 2, shoes on the other foot. MarineLorD is the aggressor. he exploits the mid-map economy. Leenock is not playing mid-map because he's playing full condensed greed, and MarineLorD is quick to identify this and punish it. And this is the thing, like, MarineLorD is just so much quicker, and this has me a little bit concerned for Leenock because I don't know if it's rusty or demotivated or what, but, like, to me, maybe it's just that MarineLorD is that good, but they kind of feel miles apart right now. Looking at the performance of these two, like, if you looked at the performance of them right now, it would be very hard for you to believe a statement out of my mouth where I said that Leenock beat MarineLorD in the biggest LAN 2 months ago. What? Doesn't sound believable at all, but that really is like the state of affairs, right? MarineLorD has seriously upped his game, and Leenock seems completely caught off guard. I think it's to do with the change in the meta. I'd say the 15 to 30 minute mark feels a little bit more important than it did back in March. And it seems that MarineLorD is much better at playing that aggression. It's no surprise as well, right? MarineLorD has always been an aggressive player, but he seems to be benefiting a lot from the current meta. People like Viper as well have found ways to kind of circumvent that early aggression and exploit the 25-minute timer. I feel like Leenock still isn't, though, judging by these games. In fairness, he didn't get a chance to get that 25-minute power spike timing in either of these games. Question mark is whether he's going to be able to do it in the third game.